Welcome to another episode of Once Upon a Time in China. My experience in China lasted for around 6 years, and it started in 2014. At that time, I was offered a job in Shanghai to relocate to that city, and I decided to say yes. While living in Shanghai, I worked for 4 companies, 2 of them German, and one of them also my own. I registered my own company in that city. Before living in China, I lived in France, the United States, and in Argentina, which is the country where I come from. So originally, I had planned to make a video explaining what are, from my point of view, the most important cultural differences that you can find between China and the West. But instead, I decided to just start by sharing a story with you. The person on the right of this picture is my good friend Fox. Together, we traveled to Hangzhou, a city which is in another state close to Shanghai, to attend the wedding of another good friend of ours called Alex, which is the person in the middle of this picture. I met both of them, Fox and Alex, working for a Swedish company in Shanghai. For the people watching this video from Germany, please rest assured that I already asked my friend permission to show these pictures to you, and they all said yes. The little girl in this picture is Fox's 4-year-old daughter. During the wedding, there was a master of ceremonies that was making plenty of games, and this little girl won one of these games. The prize was a stuffed toy, and she was very happy with it until a couple of drunk guests decided to just take away the toy from the little girl. So what my friend Fox did is he picked her up, hugged her, and waited until she smiled again, which she did. But what surprised me the most is what happened after that. Fox has already told me that his plan for the wedding or for the trip to Hangzhou was just to relax, eat, and talk. But his plan changed exactly in that minute. From then on, he decided to participate in all the games of the wedding, and he won all of them. He won a lot of stuffed toys for his little girl. Actually, the reason he's dressed like that in the first picture is because that was one of the tasks he had to accomplish in order to win the game, which he did win. He won so many toys for his little girl that they wouldn't fit in the car on their way back from Hangzhou to Shanghai, so they had to leave plenty of them in that city of Hangzhou. I can name plenty of differences between what is the experience of living in countries in the western part of the world or what it is living in China. One of them is, for instance, body language. In the West, people in position of power usually provide very strong handshakes. But in China, you can meet, for instance, a CEO, and the first handshake she will give you can be pretty weak. But if she liked you after the meeting because you reached an agreement or the business you're proposing is actually something that she is interested with, the handshake she will give you when we say goodbye, will be pretty strong. There are also plenty of differences regarding cultural dimensions. For instance, distance to power. I remember that the first feedback I received when I was working for a company in China was that I would smile a lot. Oh yes, I particularly like to smile. But the CEO told me and explained to me that in order for my work to be more efficient, I had to distance myself from the people I was leading. And as I was very new in China, I'm compliant. And for a long period of time, I didn't smile so much. Not just at work, also outside of work. I eventually ended up leaving that company for the Swedish company where I met Fox and Alex. And one of the things we all had in common is that we all like to smile a lot. So after that, I got back to smiling, and that didn't affect at all my relationship with the people I was leading. Another major difference between the countries I have lived in and China is the effort and dedication they put into technology. In cities like Shanghai, for instance, it's very easy and efficient to live because of all the focus put into making people's lives easier and more comfortable. There is a lot of government and private investment which has that goal in mind to make people's lives easier so they can move around, putting all their effort into working, but not trying to solve problems coming from bureaucracy, for instance. Actually, I think that's one of the reasons why I started working more in research and development and innovation departments when I was living in China, because there is so much concentration and dedication to that sector that almost all the companies have a department for that. I think that's why it is not a surprise that, for instance, China is the only country in the world with their own quantum satellite, or the only country in the world with their own space station. That's also a result of all this investment and all this dedication into research, science, and technology. I personally consider that one of the reasons that China is thriving so much is because of people like Fox. I actually know a lot of friends in China that have similar personalities. And in that situation, what he decided to do, which was non confronting the people who took the toy, but just taking action, simplifies and exemplifies something that I see a lot, not just in people in China, but also in the organizations. And it has to do with actually what he taught to his daughter through those actions. He taught her two very important lessons. Number one is that, yes, life sometimes can be unfair. But number two is that you can make it a bit fairer if you just don't give up.